Chapter 1. On the day of Felix Palmer's funeral, his wife Ginny met his mistress Emma. They had met before, of course. The county of Norfolk is not so populous that they could have avoided each other. Their conduct at these meetings had been shaped by Ginny's lofty and wilful ignorance of the situation, by Emma's sang-froid, by Felix's natural desire to maintain an arrangement that suited him. Over the years they had coincided in draughty parish halls, in charity committee rooms, and at the caucuses of local groups concerned with the protection of what, in the decade just beginning, would be known as the environment. They had bumped into each other in Norwich, shopping in Gerald's department store. They had exchanged small talk at exhibitions of craft work, and occupied neighbouring seats at the theatre. Once travelling to London, they had found themselves sole occupants of a first-class carriage. For half an hour, they had found enough that was anodyne to pass the time. Then Ginny, excusing herself with a smile, delved into her bag and pulled out a fat paperback book. She retired behind it. Emma examined its cover. A svelte woman with a small crown perched upon her wimple stood before a manor house with anachronistic chimney stacks. The title was in florid gold script: Wife to Crookback. Emma looked out of the window. The landscape was a sad East England green. Crows wheeled over the fields. As they moved from the edge of England to its heart, Emma herself took out a book. They parted at sooty Liverpool Street, with a nod and a smile. London forced no collusion on them, but Norfolk did. A handful of farming and professional families played host to both. At a round of weddings and christenings, they had made polite, even warm conversation. At a dozen New Year's Eve parties they had wished each other luck and happiness, and sometimes almost meant it. Now, on this February morning, Ginny stood surrounded by a knot of mourners. Friends and business associates had turned out for the occasion. Felix had been well liked in the district. The church occupied high ground, and a ripping wind billowed coats and snapped at woolen headscarves, and brought a flush to aching faces. The mourners could sense the presence of the sea, hidden from them by a belt of pines. Some of them lingered in the church porch, reading the notices about flower rotors, dusting and brass cleaning. Others stood among the gravestones looking depressed. They had double-parked in the open area beyond the church gate, and would have to wait their turn to get away. Ginny, leaning on the arm of her son, moved from group to group, offering a few tactful words to soothe their feelings. She understood that death is embarrassing. Her own family, her son Daniel, who was an architect, her daughter Claire, who was a buyer at Harrods, had been as gentle and as careful of her feelings as anyone could wish. But even as she deferred the moment, Ginny felt that it was Emma to whom she wished to speak, to whom naturally she should be speaking. Patting her son's arm, smiling up and dismissing him, she made her way across the grass with a short, precisely regulated stride, her high heels spiking holes in the ground like some primitive seed drill. Ginny Palmer was a sharp, neat, Wallis Simpson sort of woman, to whom black lent an added definition. As she advanced on Emma, she took from her pocket a crisp, lace-edged handkerchief, folded it very small, and polished the tip of her nose, a gesture quite unnecessary, but some